This evening, the Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs has dismissed fears over the Land Titling Commission of Inquiry as unfounded. Search in the hinterland for black gold has now accompanied the search for oil in territorial waters as foreign organizations continue to find interest in Guyana. Police seem to be getting closer to solving the murder of the bread vendor shot in Sophia as one accused is remanded. The call for embracing the Green Revolution seems to be in the wilderness for the time being on the part of the government and the opposition. In the region, Trinidad and Tobago seems to be following Guyana regarding senior government officials racking up huge telephone bills in little time. And internationally, US President Donald Trump has defended his right to share information with Russia.
From Safe TV headquarters in South Granville Gardens, this is Safe TV Headline News with Basil Bradshaw.
Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel as well as our website safetvguyana.com. Join us. First Vice President and Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Sidney Allicock, asserts that fears over the land titling COI are unfounded. George Gonzalez reports that Minister Allicock believes the opposition is using the issue to encourage ethnic divisions.
Earlier this year, the government of Guyana announced the formation of a commission of inquiry into land titling issues for Amerindians and ancestral lands. Soon after, several groups questioned the COI and its possible motives. Some indigenous peoples have expressed a fear that the government will seize their land. First Vice President and Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Sidney Allicock, assures citizens that this is false.
We have the African lands and other people with other lands that needs clarifying. So this COI would help at the same time to do that. It doesn't mean that the indigenous people wouldn't have their land. At the moment, the Amerindian land titling is ongoing. So because we just got extension of 2 years, so we cannot wait. We have to go through. So that is treated separately, but you have the other things that the COI could address. And I don't see any problem with this.
It is Minister Allicock's belief that the opposition party is to blame for much of the anxiety over the COI by spreading rumors about its nature.
I've known the opposition going into Region 9 and telling the people that the government is going to take away their land, they're not going to get lands. The COI is the Negro people will take all the lands now, we see what's happening. So they've twisted the whole story out, which is terrible actually.
He also feels that the concern that the PPPC shows for the Amerindian people is disingenuous and divisive. Rather than discussing the issue, they have drawn their own conclusions and spread rumors to gain political points.
I think what has played out is the politicians are playing politics, using this to get our indigenous brothers afraid. Because this is the same thing that happened in the campaign. That was the then government, which was really ugly, and we need to change that mindset. We need to understand that we're all Guyanese. We need to have a good life, and the good life is possible. But we need to understand that unity is strength.
Nonetheless, Minister Allicock states that the government will continue to work with the National Tushaus Council and other relevant stakeholders to find an amicable solution to the land issues. This has been George Gonzalez for Channel 2 Headline News.
Thanks, George. Guyana's territorial waters are not the only location where organizations are drilling for oil in this nation. Valin Holland tells us that the Brazilian army is eyeing the hinterland's hills in search of black gold.
The Brazilian military is currently working with local stakeholders to prepare the framework by which they will commence drilling in the South Rupununi region. Guyana's ambassador to Brazil, George Talbot, stated this in an invited comment with the Government Information Agency.
It is expected that in the course of the work by the Brazilian military that there will be counterparts on the Guyana side that are trained, that their capacity will be developed, both in terms of the drilling exercise but also in elements related to operation and maintenance of the facilities once they are established.
In the coming weeks, the complementary agreement to the technical cooperation agreement that Guyana has with Brazil will be ready to be signed by the two countries to facilitate actions by Brazil in support of the project. The government of Brazil and Guyana are confident that the drilling operations will only bring positive results to the people of the region. Positive results in the form of capacity building and jobs for Guyanese citizens.
There is an element of capacity building involved as well that makes it more than just a single intervention of drilling and leaving, but also building our own capacity to be able to do such operations in the future.
Ambassador Talbot indicated that the drilling is planned to commence after the end of the current rainy season. It is interesting to note that this would not be the first time oil exploration would have been done in the region. Since the 1940s, petroleum companies such as Shell, Total, and Mobil have been doing geological surveys and drilling wells in the Takatu Basin. This is Valin Holland reporting for Channel 2 Headline News.
Thank you, Valin. Yesterday, 20-year-old GDF private Shaquille Grant was remanded to prison for the murder of Sophia bread vendor Andre Alexander, who was shot dead by bandits during a robbery at Seafield, Sophia. Appearing before Magistrate Zamila Ali C. Paul, Grant was not required to plead to the indictable charge of murder. Alexander died during surgery after the attack took place. It is alleged that on May 5 at around 20:30 hours, Grant shot Alexander at the victim's bread shop during the course of a robbery. It was reported that while Alexander was in the process of making change for a purchase, Grant pulled out a gun and demanded cash. A struggle ensued. It ended with the robber discharging 2 rounds, one of which struck the vendor in the stomach. The 2 men stole cash and also escaped with 3 loaves of bread. The murder accused will make another appearance in court on June 8 at the Sparta Magistrates Court. Coming up on Headline News after the break, various groups are being frustrated by the government in their call for a green revolution, and help is being sought for a missing young man.
Sometimes there's just too much information to keep up with when you're pregnant. What you should and should not eat, what kind of exercise is right for you, how to handle mood changes, even how to determine when it's time for delivery.
Don't let your pregnancy be a burden. Watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2 every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now you can know all you need to know from conception to delivery when you watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2.
Guyana! The Central Housing and Planning Authority, under the patronage of the Government of Guyana, brings to you Housing Solutions 2017 and Beyond Expo, a model village of modern, stylish, and affordable housing designs. Prospective homeowners, here is your opportunity to engage with the banking and other financial institutions as well as insurance companies to discuss available financing options. The public will experience and enjoy wholesome entertainment for the entire family and savor the flavor of local and foreign cuisine as well as beverages at the food court. So tell a family, tell a friend, and come visit Model Village. Housing Solutions 2017 and Beyond opens on Friday, May 26 at 15 hours and runs from May 27 to 29. Time 11 to 22 hours each day at the Perseverance Housing Development Site on the east bank of Demerara. Not too sure where that is? Just follow the Massey and Princess Hotel Road. This event is sponsored by Geico Construction, Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry, Republic Bank, Turganol, New Building Society, and Courts.
Expo, be there.
It's always fresh, tasty, enticing, and the best in town, served hot from our experienced chefs. Come and enjoy our daily meals with a wide and delicious menu to choose from. Also a wide variety of pastries and dessert. can also host your luncheons, cocktails, parties, and formal gathering. For reservation, call 225-1730, 225-0038, and delivery 225-0195 or 225-0159. The new thriving Chinese restaurant, 32 Main Street, Georgetown.
Guyana, get ready. It's the biggest album launch by a Guyanese artist. It's the launch of the album You by Saiku, featuring the hit songs Pillow Could Speak,
If my pillow could speak, it would tell you how I feel.
Mess to a Messenger,
From a miss to a messenger. Mama used to pray and say blessing Jah.
and the title track, You.
I need you, 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 you. I need you, 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 you.
20th May, GFC Ground Bourda, guest artist Kevin Downswell, Ada Boafo, Prodigal Son, Anil Aziz, and many more. Entry free with the purchase of the original album. Children under 10 free.
Need a ride around town and beyond? Look no further than Oasis Ride Taxi Service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook. Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
Seems like people will try just about anything to lose weight these days. But nothing works better than proper dieting and exercise. So if you're guilty of eating the wrong foods, not finding time to exercise, or can't afford a gym, join Safe TV Channel 2 for Body and Spirit. Aerobics workout with Dick Nunez.
Hello, I'm Dick Nunez. Welcome to Body and Spirit Aerobics.
Weekday mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Don't hesitate. Act now, because your greatest wealth is your health.
Groups are calling on the government to embrace the Green Revolution, but neither the coalition nor the opposition seems to be listening. According to this George Gonzalez report, even the opposition is not ready to embrace the legalization of industrial hemp.
Yesterday, when responding to questions about the legalization of industrial hemp, opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo reiterated the People's Progressive Party's stance on the decriminalization of marijuana, but he fell short of actually expressing support for the legalization of hemp, citing a lack of research on the topic.
We don't have enough research on the matter, frankly speaking, to take a position on it now. Whether that could be used for use, the hemp itself, if it's grown, or the variety that they will grow will be purely for, can only have an industrial application and not recreational application.
On the topic of marijuana, while possession with intent to sell would still be considered a criminal offense, the People's Progressive Party manifesto does outline support for the decriminalization of small quantities of marijuana for personal use.
We campaigned on this. We said that the PPP will look at decriminalizing small quantities, and it is in our manifesto.
With this in mind, the opposition leader said that any vote for its legalization would not be in support of its usage. Rather, it would be a conscious vote on the behalf of the PPP.
We'd allow a conscience vote on the part of our members of parliament. That those who want to support it can support it, and those who don't want to will be allowed not, they can express that view and vote that way too in the National Assembly.
The opposition leader expressed that support for decriminalization would come from an understanding of the severe unfairness of the justice system in relation to drug offenses.
What triggered this is that we've seen cases where somebody has a tiny bit, one cigarette, marijuana cigarette, and they get sentenced to jail for 3 years. You have big traffickers who have a lot of money, but they have good legal representation. They don't even get any jail time.
Instead of jail time for marijuana users, he would support alternative sentencing, such as the building of rehab centers.
Thanks again, George. The family of a 19-year-old youth who was diagnosed as being bipolar is seeking the public's help in locating him. The young man, Jude Eversley, was last seen in the early morning hours of Saturday as he barged out of his parents' Sussex Street home. He had just gotten into a scuffle with his mom when he walked out, and he has not been seen or heard from since. The teen's father, Neil Eversley, said his son would wander, and they strongly believe that he may have been disoriented and may be wandering in some city area. He said the young man developed some mental issues just after writing his CSEC examinations a few years ago. He did well at the exams, but his life was never the same since then. He is currently enrolled in a psychology course at the American University of Peace Studies. The parents are asking anyone who may have noticed their son in any area or know of his whereabouts to contact telephone numbers 667-5145, 661-9080, 223-6742, or 231-3997. Still ahead, plans to close down Radio St Lucia may have a backlash, and time again for Donald Trump to defend another questionable move.
Sometimes there's just too much information to keep up with when you're pregnant. What you should and should not eat, what kind of exercise is right for you, how to handle mood changes, even how to determine when it's time for delivery.
Don't let your pregnancy be a burden. Watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2 every weekday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now you can know all you need to know from conception to delivery when you watch The Baby Story on Safe TV Channel 2.
Need a ride around town and beyond? Look no further than Oasis Ride Taxi Service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook. Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
Guyana! Guyana!
The Central Housing and Planning Authority, under the patronage of the Government of Guyana, brings to you Housing Solutions 2017 and Beyond Expo, a model village of modern, stylish, and affordable housing designs. Prospective homeowners, here is your opportunity to engage with the banking and other financial institutions as well as insurance companies to discuss available financing options. The public will experience and enjoy wholesome entertainment for the entire family and savor the flavor of local and foreign cuisine as well as beverages at the food court. So tell a family, tell a friend, and come visit Model Village. Housing Solutions 2017 and Beyond opens on Friday, May 26 at 15 hours and runs from May 27 to 29. Time 11 to 22 hours each day at the Perseverance Housing Development Site on the east bank of Demerara. Not too sure where that is? Just follow the Massey and Princess Hotel Road. This event is sponsored by Geico Construction, Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry, Republic Bank, Turganol, New Building Society, and Courts.
Expo, be there.
Seems like people will try just about anything to lose weight these days. But nothing works better than proper dieting and exercise. So if you're guilty of eating the wrong foods, not finding time to exercise, or can't afford a gym, join Safe TV Channel 2 for Body and Spirit. Aerobics workout with Dick Nunez.
Hello, I'm Dick Nunez. Welcome to Body and Spirit Aerobics.
Weekday mornings from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Don't hesitate. Act now, because your greatest wealth is your health.
Now opened, the new thriving Chinese restaurant Providence location. Perfect for large events, exquisite menus featuring traditional Korean, Chinese, and Western cuisine, elegant grand dining room, and seats for over 500 persons. Also additional seating on the upper flat, luxurious VIP rooms, and an elevator for your comfort. The new thriving Chinese restaurant second location above Massey Supermarket, Amazonian Mall, Providence. For reservation call 623-4097 or 657-9067.
In news from the region now, the general manager of the Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, ECCO, Steve Etienne, foresees more radio stations going belly up in the near future, following news of plans to close down Radio St Lucia. The state-owned radio station has racked up millions of dollars in debt, and the Alain Chastanet administration argues that the company is no longer viable. Etienne contends that word of the fate of Radio St. Lucia is indicative of an overcrowded broadcast environment, which he believes is unsustainable.
The general manager for the Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, ECHO, Steve Etienne, expects more radio stations to fold up. His remarks came in the wake of the announcement by the Alain Chastanet administration that the company known as Radio St. Lucia will be closed following an extensive review. The cash-strapped state-owned entity has been in the red for many years and has struggled to keep afloat in a highly competitive and packed field. However, RSL is not alone, and Etienne believes that the market is too saturated, especially in a down economy where the advertising pie is limited. He thinks a market correction is due.
We have far too many radio stations, and we haven't got the finance, we haven't got our economy cannot sustain or support 20 or so radio stations that we have. And if business are done as business ought to be done, then several other radio stations will go the same way as RSL. Certainly, I'm speaking from a position of authority because we have to we are funded by a percentage of advertising revenue. So we know that lots of radio stations are struggling.
Etienne admits that ECHO has benefited from its long-running relationship with Radio St. Lucia, which as a public good promotes local content on heavy rotation. However, he concedes that the storied institution is also heavily leveraged and is indebted to the music rights group.
ECHO will, of course, be pursuing our debt. That's really the position we are in. If the station, as it is rumored, is closed, then we will be pursuing our debt. On the flip side, it will be a loss to our members in the sense that RSL provided a lot of airtime for local music. You would be, if you listen to the station, you'll be familiar with its exclusive day set aside for local music, which was Thursdays.
Notwithstanding its perennial financial problems, Etienne asserts that Radio St. Lucia as a public good will leave a tremendous void, particularly in educational programming.
RSL did serve a unique role. They did have a unique role, notwithstanding the association with government or the state as such. They provided lots of information and educational focus on lots of the areas that would not normally be seen as attractive radio, for want of a better word. Certainly not necessarily commercial with a commercial bent. So it's very sad. We know that in other countries there are institutions that of such that are funded by the state. But those responsible for making those decisions, it is their decision, and of course we have to abide by it.
During the presentation of the 2018 Budget Policy Address, the Prime Minister Alain Chastanet announced that the company currently known as RSL will be closed and the relevant programs will be restructured to take advantage of the new technologies for information dissemination. The Prime Minister stated that as of March 31st, 2015, the company's accumulated losses amounted to $3.4 million. Joachim de Blasi, HDS News Force.
Over in Trinidad and Tobago, Minister of Tourism Shamfa Kudjo incurred a cell phone bill of $59,050 over a 4-day period from January 29 to February 3, 2017. This was the claim of temporary United National Congress Senator Chrislyn Moore, who read out the bill in the Senate during the debate on the midterm budget review last night. More refer to statements made by Agriculture Minister Clarence Rambrat about the need for everyone to cut and contrive. The issue is a glaring reminder of the incident in Guyana involving PPP's Gail Teixeira, who racked up close to $1 million in phone bills in 1 month when she served as presidential advisor on governance in the last PPPC administration. And internationally, U.S. President Donald Trump has defended his absolute right to share information with Russia following a row over classified material. Mr. Trump tweeted that he had shared facts pertaining to terrorism and airline safety and wanted Russia to do more against so-called Islamic states. He met Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in the Oval Office last week. U.S. media said Mr. Trump had shared material that was passed on by a partner who had not given permission.
Donald Trump's reported links and contacts with Russia have dogged the first 100 days of his presidency. The latest allegations that Mr. Trump revealed highly classified intelligence information to the Russian foreign minister during their Oval Office meeting last week. According to the Washington Post, while discussing threats from so-called Islamic State, the president inexplicably told the Russians details about from where the Americans got certain information. One report said the president was almost boasting. The information related to the use of laptops on board aircraft, but, said the report, US intelligence agencies had to be alerted to the fact the president may have compromised sources in his meeting with the Russians. And that set alarm bells ringing in Washington.
It's disturbing, and let's find out what the details are, whether it actually happened or not. We just have an initial report, so it's very difficult to comment until we get all the facts here.
Taking to social media this morning, Mr. Trump said he was merely sharing facts with the Russians in their mutual fight against so-called Islamic State and terrorism. Senior aides who were at the Russia meeting also defended the president's words and actions.
At no time were intelligence sources or methods discussed, and the president did not disclose any military operations that were not already publicly known.
Donald Trump often shoots from the hip, ignoring diplomatic norms, an approach popular with his supporters but nonetheless embarrassing given his stance on intelligence matters during the election campaign.
We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified.
It's a big week for Mr. Trump. Turkey's President Erdogan is already in town for talks at the White House, talks that might prove to be delicate given recent tensions between Washington and Ankara. And then Mr. Trump sets off on his first overseas visit as president with stops in Saudi Arabia and Israel, a week in which Donald Trump's diplomatic skills may be put to the test. Willow Davis, BBC News.
And that's Channel 2's headline news for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to find Channel 2 headline news on Facebook, YouTube, and SafeTV2Guyana.com. You can also tune in at 6:30 tomorrow morning for a rebroadcast. Until then, I'm Basil Bradshaw, signing out from this newscast.